Okay, these are the things we want to go over. Basically, different types of rifles and how to set rifle set up is key in some of this and quarter combat stuff. Cut the pie, walking angles, positive, negative rooms and hallways, positive, negative sides of people and how to use that. Passive dynamic entry, using both. Sound, shadow, reflection, and then the wall, seeing the wall. Those are all things we're going to talk about in this class, and how do you get through some of it, how do you use some of this, and what all this means.
He's an AK guy, just so everybody didn't catch that.
Basically, you have, in my opinion, two different types of rifles people go around. They're running some form of a 16-inch barrel for rifle carbine, you know, like this V9 here. Or they're run some form of an SBR or AR pistol. This is the SBR here. Those are two main types that everybody's going to typically run for something like this. Now I know that there's battle rifles out there, guns out there, but FAL is not the best choice for a quarter combat gun. First we're going to talk about the SBR or the pistol version of it.
Yeah, there's no cons to it.
No, yeah.
There's just no cons.
No, for a quarter combat weapon, this is the best you can do. Some version of this. You know, 10 to 12 inch barrel, something you shoot real fast and real come back with adjustable sight with a good red dot on it. You know, you can get into flash hiders or suppressors. Hang on a second, please. This is a brake. The brake works wonders. Will keep a recoil down, a muzzle right down. The disadvantage of it is it's loud in the indoor environment, and your neighbor next door to you that's shooting next to you, if you're more than one, they'll get blasted by it. This is more form of this is a flash hider, not a brake. It doesn't do anything for recoil, but it does do a good job killing flash at night. But you don't have the propulsion coming back as much.
Flash is big. You guys want to hide your flash.
Both of these are quick connects for suppressors. If you can get into the suppressor war, that's the best. That's the best to run on your gun. You know, the disadvantage of suppressors are they do make your gun a lot more dirtier, or they do get hot. But just to run suppress is just so much easier to shoot. It takes away recoil, and you don't get that concussion back, so you stay on target better. Basically, you have two types of suppressors, lengths of suppressors that most people run, 5.56. These are advanced armaments, two types of advanced armaments, same suppressor. One's a full length, one's a mini. You can see the size difference. It's about a half, I don't know, 8 ounce, 6-8 ounce difference in weight. I can pass them around if you want to look at them. Now, if you're running full auto, it jumps to the full auto. It's so much more annoying to get to shoot basically 12 to 14 shots a second, like maybe 7 to 8 thousandths of a second, just throwing around that range. It's a lot. It aggravates the loudness of the rifle. You know what I mean? So if you're running full auto, the only one to be hearing safe would be the bigger one. You know what I mean? Now, but it's still better than having nothing, especially if you're inside. You know what I mean? Because it would be definitely inside of a building. I like. On the SBR AR pistol, I like a EOTech or aim point, especially EOTech, because if you can see the dot, you don't have parallel shift, unlike some other red dots that you can get into.
It has less parallel shift. There is some.
It's very little parallel shift.
But
yes.
it's critical.
Yes. You typically run them forward on your rail. Yeah. So you typically run the red dot, like this one, closer to the front. Usually I spread it right where the rail and the upper meet at. I spread it and put it where touching both, because that gives you more option. Because when you collapse the shock, and if you try to get real close and try to put it over your shoulders where you get in tight, or something real tight, because the hallway is real close, you can't back up and get some distance. You can still see your dot. And also, if you're ever running night vision, gas mask, other things, it's hard as a backfire. It's hard to see it. You know what I mean? So typically you run around your dots forward. Typically you want to make sure you have some kind of a folding shot, because you'll find if you're going real close up and quarter, you want to suck that in all the way and get as close as you can on the gun. You know, now if you're shooting more something regular, you know, fold it out a little bit, get yourself a little more distance. That way you can get a little more comfortable on the gun, you know. I like some forward grip. Granted, if you're running a pistol,
Your ways.
you have to run a wedge because you can't put a pistol grip on it. And the pistol grip's not for like this. The only time you're gonna do that is if you're shooting a lot, especially if you're running around a full auto. It's gonna heat up so bad you can't hang on to the grip. You can't hang on to it once you need to get down on the grip. Typically you want to C-clamp it like this. You want to kind of, like shooting a pistol, you want to drive your thumb towards the target. Because what most people do when they shoot an AR, if the right hand they shoot that way, the left hand they shoot that way, especially if they shoot in cadences, because they're not gripping, they're not running the gun right with the opposite hand. Because with this hand, you want to grab it, just like a pistol, you want to kind of take your hand and you want to kind of cock, wedge the gun. I'm grabbing here with this hand, grabbing and pulling and pushing with my thumb down and forward at the same time. That way I lock the gun and straight the gun just does this when I shoot. If I don't do that, you do something else, the gun tends to cock. If your right hand goes that way, if your left hand goes go that way. And it goes up at an angle. And you know what I mean?
It's easy to push against your shoulder.
Yeah, and you want to kind of rotate your shoulder a little bit forward and kind of pull back at the same time as I'm rotating the gun. I'm kind of overjacking. I'm driving this hand to the target, I'm pulling this in, I'm rotating the gun, walking my sight. Yeah. So you're just trying to, you can run the gun fast. You know what I mean? That way. I can shoot 5 shots a second in semi-mode that way, no problem. You know what I mean? Just by holding the gun in that way. Especially if it's suppressed or break. Now you guys who run a fast higher, you're gonna have a little more recoil. And the guns are rated a little bit higher because of the fast higher. Nothing wrong with that, you just have to make up for it, you know. So that's how you want to set it up. Slings, this is a Magpul 2-point and 1-point sling. I typically like to run a combo on SBRs or pistols because if you're going close quarter, the 1-point sling is a lot better because I can go and switch hands so much easier. Or if you're running a 2-point sling, if I'm lowering like this,
You gotta get your elbow
I
out.
can't switch. I gotta swing out of it and switch over. You know, so you gotta run it around your neck. You know,
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. You can do that, but you just need to be made aware of how you're doing. I like to buy the Magpul that you can do both with. That way I can do whatever I need to do.
And they're not too expensive.
And if you're running, yeah, they're like 50, 60 bucks.
Yeah, they're economical.
If you're running a plate carrier, it's nice for 1-point because it'll let it, or a 2-point, if you have pouches on it lets the gun sit out a little bit so you can grab it a little easier. You always want to make sure you can sew your string away, your slings up on your gun.
Yes.
When you're transporting the gun, if you're in combo or something like that, you can't have your sling flop around. So you either run like a piece of Velcro or a Ranger band where you put a rubber band back here, you lock it on something like this. That way, if you gotta get out, it's out, and then you just zip it out and you go to wherever you need to go to.
Plus, if you're operating in a woods or a jungle, you don't have to snag everything too while you're trying to beat through the brush.
Why you run a red dot on a 45 is for close quarter combat.
Shoulder.
Yeah, because it's hard. You running iron sights or this Enon 1 power, it's hard to run up close because of the lenses in going down to 1 power where there's no application, you just see what's there. It takes a second to grab the front, to grab the optics, the reticle of the optics. Same, yes. Where a red dot is easy. I just rotate it on just like that to grab it easy. And the advantage of running both is I can have this one torn up and zeroed at whatever y'all know. I can go from some close out to 500 just by doing that. You know what I mean? Because I have magnetic cases up here and a straight dot right here. So if you're going close, you typically suck it all the way in. And this is how I would run it if I were to come. I would run it and I would come up like that typically, or put this up a little more over my shoulder to the way I do. Typically like that, and I can just see the dot perfect like that. So as I'm cutting the pie, walking angles, doing what I need to do, I don't need to try to look through my optics and have it cut and have a very narrow field of view. But I like the variable power. Knife Force makes a good one. Trizicon makes a good 1 to 8. You can buy some Bushnells for around $300 or $400. It ain't bad.
What about the down in South? mine went blank.
Primary on makes some
Primary
decent ones.
is like $500-600.
Yeah, they make some decent ones. This Night Force is the smallest out there, and it's still getting eaten out of your case.
$1,800.
Yeah, it's not cheap. Now the key you have to keep in memory is remember we talked about battle zeros and how you do all that in your MOA. I have written my lens cap here, 7, 15, 25 yards, the difference minutes that I'm off in this. I zeroed this one for 15 yards. You know, I know at 50 yards I'm about 6 inches off. I got 8 inches low. You know, I just know that. But at 15, 25,
Well, in all
10
honesty,
yards.
anything under 100 yards, you're going to use your red dot anyway.
Typically, yes, it's quicker. 50 yards a pass, I might split this up and go. You know, depends on what I'm doing. I'll have it set up so I can.
Yeah.
I do, you know what I want to do. But typically 50 yards or closer, or 100 yards, I'm going to probably spread my dot. Just like that. You know, it makes it easy. So I really recommend trying, if you don't do a setup like this, to do that. Or you can just put a straight red dot on it. There's nothing wrong with just having a red dot on one of these guns. If you do a good battle zero, you get you out to 250, 300 yards, you won't be off more than 6 inches. And anywhere through the whole spectrum. So at that point, you just still point blank, just aim and shoot the guy's chest.
The Bushnell drop zone, it's got a quick drop on it.
Yeah, I have
1
one
to
of
6.
those,
They're under $300, and like they're pretty handy.
Yeah.
The only problem with them is, I'm not cracking on, but you tend to get more black.
Well,
Well,
that's
they're also a 1-inch tube instead of a 30.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you take
Well,
very
again, you're paying $500-600 or $1,800.
Yeah, I'm just saying you tend
That's-
to, if your eye
It's
head
a
move, you
huge
tend to
difference.
black out more.
The Night Force is so forgiving, but you also don't pay $1,800
I'm just
for it.
bringing